All right, oopsie, let's do this. Okay, so I should line these up and get things. All right, so this is the Merriest Wishes bundle. It's really a fun bundle. So the stamp set has the trees and has dies that you can cut out different sizes of these trees. So they cut out, is that the one? I've got the right one. Yes, it is. These images are actually smaller on here. So it cuts out these images, but you can also cut out different sizes of the trees using the dies. The same stamp, the different dies. So the smaller tree cuts out, just part of the tree. You've got this very great die is for garland. So when you cut it out, you get 5 strips of garland. And then you've got Christmas, trunks, as well as you can cut out the decorations and stars. It's really fun. And I love this tag. I'm big on tags. We're going to use that today. And then some sentiments. I love this sentiment that looks like a tree. Very fun. All right. So let me show you. I did a sample just as I was kind of getting ready for this to see what it was going to look like. So the embossing folder I'm going to use, and you're probably going to have a hard time seeing it. Let's make myself a baby wipe here because I was playing with garden green. So let's make sure it's clean. So this embossing folder is called Glad. I think it's called Glad Tidings. It's really fun. So here's one I did. Using garden green. So what I did was I layered up the side of the embossing folder that is the embossed side. So this one here, I'm pretty sure that's what I did. Yeah. I never can figure this out. Yes, this is the side. I layered up the side that has the Stampin' Up! Logo on it in garden green. And then I laid my piece of paper down and I ran it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So that's what it looks like in garden green. I'm going to do another couple, or at least one other one, because I haven't decided what color. So my color is a bit traditional for Christmas. I've got cherry cobbler and garden green. So I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to do it in cherry cobbler, and we can decide what one we want. And then I've cut out a tag. So part of this is going to be covered anyway, but we'll see what color. And then we can decorate it and put a tree on it or something. So I typically take a piece of cardstock. So I want my cardstock, hey Pam, I want my cardstock piece, my layer, to end up to be 3 3/4 by 5. Because if this layer is 4 inches by 5 1/4, I want part of it showing. So I usually just, reduce the size by 1/4 of an inch. But I tend to start with a piece a little bit bigger, and then I can trim it if the edges aren't looking nice. Sometimes, for example, on this one, the edges didn't get all colored, and so I can trim off what I'm not happy with. So I've got cherry cobbler this time round. This cherry cobbler is really tight. There we go. Okay, so what you do is you take your embossing folder, and we're going to do the same as I did on the garden green. We're going to color the side that's got the Stampin' Up! Logo on it. So I just take and kind of swipe. You can press down as well. If you press down, you will get a darker color than if you kind of swipe some of that ink off. So when I did it the first time with the garden green, I actually, I'm going to swipe it this time around because I'm going to take some of the color. Let's turn it so it doesn't do that. So some of the color off, so it's not maybe quite so dark. Whereas if you're just patting it, you will get a very dark piece, which is what happened with my garden green. Okay, so then you can take this, put your piece of paper in, and kind of hold it in one spot. Bring in your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So for this is not a 3D embossing folder. So you just need your cutting platform number 1, and then 2 of the number 3 plates. And I really need a new number 3 plate because this one is all bent. I had a friend over helping me cut for my monthly kits and the make and takes for the launch that's coming up, and so she really put my cutting plate through its paces. Okay, so I'm really loving this one. So you can see by patting it and getting the dark color, it is much darker than when you swipe it and kind of take some of that ink off. I'm really liking that, but I want to show you one more way of doing this and what the difference is if you ink up the other side, so the side that doesn't have the Stampin' Up! Logo on it. So you do get a completely different look. So just take a baby wipe and you can clean off your embossing folder. Be prepared to get your fingers a little inky, and your grid paper. So if you have grid paper down or a scrap of paper, it helps to keep your space clean. So I'm just kind of cleaning this. Okay, so I'm going to take another one, do another sample. Pretty sure I have a piece here. I do. All right, so let's do another sample, but this time we're going to take and ink up the opposite side. So the first one I inked up the side that has the Stampin' Up! Logo on it. This time I'm inking up, oopsie, I keep doing that, holding it so it opens up. We're inking up the side. This is the embossed side. The other is the kind of debossed. These are the raised. So I'm doing the same with this one. I'm kind of swiping it. Now we'll take our piece of cardstock and close this over top. Get your fingers out of the way. Bring your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine in and run this through. And hopefully you'll be able to see the difference between these. Now, here's my problem, is these are opposite, so that didn't work at all for this one. I think because this is words, my words are backwards. So I think it won't work if for this particular embossing folder, doing it the way where you have it on the embossed side isn't going to work because your words are going to be backwards. Okay, well that's hadn't thought of that. So it does work with other embossing folders. So if you've got an embossing folder that doesn't have words on it that you need to be able to read, you will definitely be able to see the difference. And I'm going to just take this because it's definitely got a lot of red on it. Take it down and run it under the tap and get some of my cherry cobbler out of that. Okay, now let's, don't want to get my card base. Don't want to get my card base all mucky with the green. It's bad enough it's all over my fingers. Okay, so I've got a piece of cherry cobbler that's 4 1/4 by 11. And it's scored at 5 1/2. So we'll just take and fold it into the mountain or the raised line. Now I've got my garden green. So I think I'm going to keep it very traditional. Close this up. But I am going to trim my piece. I'm going to use the cherry cobbler because I'm really liking the cherry cobbler. So I'm going to trim this to be 3 3/4 by 5. So taking 1/4 of an inch off of each 2 sides, just to make that smaller. Yeah, I really like that color. Okay. So then you can adhere these together. Yeah, experiment with your embossing folders because you do get a very different look depending on which side you put your ink on. It's a great way to color this, and it makes the words in this case, or the pattern, just pop. It's kind of the same as when you take a blending brush and color over your embossed piece of cardstock. You could also take, if you look at my fingers, if you wanted to use your blending brush to blend some of your ink as you put on, just to kind of smooth it over. Okay, so I went and cut already this tag, but I thought that's for the inside of the card. Okay, let's put that there. I thought what we do is we're going to stamp a tree. So I think I'm going to stamp my tree in garden green. Probably stamped off. I was thinking old olive and kind of mixing up the colors a little bit, but I think I'm going to go really traditional. So when I've got a really big image to color, I tend to ink it up from the top. Now I am going to stamp this off because this garden green is really juicy. So I'm just going to take and stamp that off like that. And then there is another tree image that has the kind of the branches or the boughs of the tree that you can see. I'm going to do that in full strength garden green. Can't really, oh, you can kind of see it there. Okay, and then now there are different sizes of the trees. So my tag, if I cut it this size, it will kind of hide the tag. So I think I'm going to take and cut it. So these dies actually just will cut a layer off of it, is what they do. So that just a way to get a smaller tree using the same dies. Yeah. If your ink pads are juicy, use your blending brushes to maybe color, or do it the way I did, swipe, and then you can use your blending brush to kind of pull some of that off if you want to. I have very, very juicy ink pads as well over here. I have two stations. One is kind of where I work most of the time. That's behind me, and then I have my filming station, and so my ink pads at my filming station are newer than the ink pads that I've been using for a long time, of course, and so they're still pretty juicy over here. All right, so we've got our tree, smaller tree. I love it that the dies are just allow you to cut the tree from the same stamp set. So I think that's a better sized tree. It's going to go like that. We'll make it work. Okay, that's for the inside of the card. And now I need to stamp a sentiment. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment in cherry cobbler. And I'm using the sentiment that says, hope your home is filled with the spirit of the season. So we'll do that in cherry cobbler, like that. Okay, so let's use some dimensionals. I think I still have some on here. Yes, I do. So we go. Put our tree onto our tag like that. I've got a piece of, this is a piece of the, yeah, I really like Yeah, they dye the dyes cut it out like this. It's very cool. I actually wasn't sure about this one either, Pam. So this is the gold. It's the 1/8 inch gold ribbon. It comes in a 2-pack, a roll of gold and a roll of silver. It's part of the online exclusive, so it's not in the catalog. It's only in the online store. Oh, look at my fingers. And it's amazing because I believe it's 10 yards of both the gold and the silver. So you actually get 20 yards of this ribbon in the package, which is amazing. I've used it a lot, and I just this morning finished the roll of gold from my first pack with the make and takes for the launch on September 10th. So don't forget to sign up for the make and takes for our launch party on September 10th. Okay, so there, my make and takes are all almost ready to be mailed. I'm excited to get them all in the mail. Okay, I'm just going to take and fussy cut it. You could use a die or a punch, or I have what I call deconstructed this stamp, where I've cut off the top row of the sentiment and cut it into pieces. But in this case, I'm just going to take and cut it into, I guess, sort of a rectangle, and we'll put it across like that. Still got some bits. So I'm only going to put the dimensionals in the middle because that's where I want them to just be part across that, like that. And then let's cut some of these. I love using the bits of my dimensionals that are left on the outside. Don't let them go to waste. Like that. Liking this. Okay, now where's my scissors? I want to trim my ribbon because I don't think I want it that tall or that long. There we go. And now, so there's this stamp that looks kind of like a tree that says, "We wish you a Merry Christmas." So I'm going to stamp that on the inside of my card using garden green. It's kind of fun. Like that. And where's my glue? There's my glue. Put my lid on before I forget. And that can go like that. Okay, now the only thing I need is some embellishments, and I grabbed these. I'm not sure these are the right ones. These are the glitter sequins they're part of the berry Christmas. Maybe I will. I was thinking that now that I've got the gold, but I think I'm going to use these ones. They're kind of garden green, but they're kind of a nice bright color, and I think maybe they'll just kind of brighten up this card a little bit. Give it a little pop. All right, so there we go. Isn't that a fun card? I love that technique where you can take and color your embossing folder just to give it a bit of a pop of color, and it just really makes the design show up lovely. All right, so there is the Merriest Trees bundle, along with, I'm pretty sure the embossing folder is called Glad Tidings. It's a kind of a standalone embossing folder that's part of the mini catalog. So if you're one of my customers and put an order in, catalogs went in the mail yesterday, so hopefully you'll get them in your hands in the next week or so. I don't know how long the mail's taking these days. Also, if you're one of my customers or you're interested, so you're not a demonstrator or you don't live outside of Canada, our launch party is September 10th. We have a separate Facebook group for launch parties. I do it with Diane Evans. And so September 10th, and we'll be live from 7 in the morning till 7 at night throughout the day with lots of things going on, including demonstrations, some stamping together, some challenges, and some prizes, of course. So if you'd like to be part of that, again, if you live in Canada and you're not a demonstrator, if you are part of my team, you're absolutely welcome. But if you're a demonstrator with another leader, maybe they'll be having something for you. So you can request to join the Facebook group. So the links to my Facebook group is below this video, and then you'll be able to find the link to the virtual launch group from my Facebook group. Or if you can't find that, just reach out to me and I'm happy to share the link with you. Also, the Mary's Wishes is the bundle that we're using for Your Creativity Awaits for September. So if you're interested in that kit, that's the suite or the bundle that we're using. All right, everybody, thanks so much. Now tomorrow I'm live at 2 o'clock. I'm launching a new kind of rewards thank you program. And so tomorrow I'm going to be making the cards that are part of the make and take kit you will get if you place an order with me. So if you put an order in for $50 with me through the end of August, I will be sending you the make and take kit for the 3 cards that I'm going to show you tomorrow. If you put an order in for $75, you will get the kit plus a package of embellishments to use on your cards. So I'm going to launch that tomorrow. So tomorrow, stay tuned and come and watch the cards. We're using just my type. So I'll show you 3 cards using that stamp set. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great day. Happy stamping. Thanks for joining me.